Basketball superstar LeBron James says he went to Miami because he wants to win. The owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Dan Gilbert, says LeBron just went to Miami for the money. Maybe he went for the early bird specials. Anybody ever think of that? Anyway, a war of words has ensued between Gilbert and LeBron James. Here to discuss are the Reverend Jesse Jackson and Marc Lamont Hill, a professor of anthropology and education at Columbia University. Jesse, let me start with you. Now, Cavs owner Dan Gilbert, he wrote an open letter to the Cleveland, Ohio fans, and he called LeBron going to Miami, quote, a shameful display of selfishness and betrayal by one of our very own. And he said to the fans, quote, you simply don't deserve this kind of cowardly betrayal. What do you make of that?
He said more than that. He said, is this the way that you raise your children? More than that, he said in a game against Orlando that LeBron quit. In 4 games against Boston, LeBron quit. Quitting in a game which has an impact is a scandal. If LeBron did that, that's a scandal. He did not do it. And if he's accused of that, that is defamation of character. And so the owner has no proprietary rights beyond LeBron making a contract deal with him. And I think he's upset, Joy, for 2 reasons. One, besides the audacity of LeBron to make a decision and leave, but he's building a casino near the stadium. So LeBron will be putting double duty of ballpark and stadium. And these 3 guys, Chris and LeBron and Dwayne, they did what owners do. They formed an organization, as it were, and created a whole new team dynamic.
Those are the stars. Those are the 3 stars in Miami now, right? Okay.
That's right. And so if I own your contract, I cover you. If I do not own your contract, I discredit you. And just as when players and coaches, if they overspeak about a referee, about his call, and they can be suspended or they can be fined.
Yes.
And then if an owner does this to a player and seeks to discredit him and the game, he should be apologized and be fined.
Okay, let me get to something that you wrote about this Gilbert at the Cavs owner. You said he speaks as an owner of LeBron and not the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Indeed.
His feelings of betrayal personify a slave master mentality. He sees LeBron as a runaway slave. Do you think that's a little over the top, Jesse?
No, this is an extension of our culture. You know, Curt Flood was being asked to leave St. Louis and go to New York against his will. He said, I'm not a slave. He filed for free agency. He was kicked out of baseball, but he won that lawsuit. The reason why all these ball players, football, basketball, baseball, and they have free agency, because Curt Flood defied the plantation mentality of owners of teams.
I got you.
And then they stepped further when Spencer Haywood demanded eligibility rights, and he won that lawsuit. So that the idea that owners own franchise, they do not own players, he won that lawsuit.
I understand what you were going for there, the ownership thing. And you have a point. It's a good metaphor, I think, or an analogy. But, I mean, Cleveland has paid LeBron over $60 million. So it's a little bit, you know, what do you make of that?
Well, but you don't know how much money he made for Cleveland. And not only did he generate revenue, but he didn't, like, leave his contract early. He worked out his contract deal. And the owner, not only did he own the team, he now owns a casino. He got that license because of LeBron's drawing place. He's with the double duty of the ball team and the casino. And so he feels a bit spurned.
Yes. Okay, Marc, let me talk to you about the fact that the NBA is dominated by black players. We know that, right? And only one black majority owner, Michael Jordan. So what the Reverend is saying has some validity. I mean...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
First of all, the deck is stacked in favor of owners, number one. And number two, most of the owners are white and most of the players are black. There's something inherently exploitative about the relationship between owners and players in the NBA and in the NFL and every place else. And what you often see is fans and owners get outraged when players actually have the temerity to defend themselves and to act in their own best interest. People got mad at Terrell Owens, said he was crazy for not wanting to play out his contract and demand a higher contract. Yet NFL owners will cut you with a moment's notice. So there's always all this power on the side of owners, but not on the side of players. I don't see anything wrong with saying that Dan Gilbert acted as a slave owner. I don't think LeBron James is a slave. That not only understates how much power and money he has, it also is a disrespect to people who actually were slaves. But Reverend Jackson is absolutely right to say that...
Well, he was using it as a metaphor.
No, absolutely. And Dan Gilbert sounded like a spurned lover. He sounded like someone who felt like he owned LeBron. He was outraged that LeBron had the audacity to go somewhere else.
I understand. I heard that, but
today, we called the commissioner's office and spoke to the Players Association. You know what a scandal it is for a player to quit and therefore by accident shave points? That is an illegal... that's illegal, it's illicit, it's also a scandal. And so to accuse a player of that, it undercuts his marketability.
It was awful.
If you play for me, I cover you. If you don't play for me, I discredit you.
Maybe this guy, Gilbert, was trying to speak to the Cleveland fans. I mean, they just lost their biggest, most lucrative player.
And so did Gilbert, because remember, the price of
That's what I'm talking about.
No, but I mean, the value of the Cleveland Cavs as a team went up $100 million when LeBron James was on it.
That's
so with LeBron leaving, Dan Gilbert's losing a ton of money. So he, in many ways, does see LeBron James as property, does see LeBron James as a physical investment. I don't think he was just trying to motivate fans, because let's be honest, Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be a terrible team next year, and Cleveland has never been a cool place to be. Nobody wants to be in Cleveland if they could be in Miami. Let's just be honest.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't think that's true about Cleveland. Lamont,
from a sport,
I think the real point is, in addition to owning the Cavaliers, he has now got the license to own a casino. You come to Cleveland and see LeBron.
That's my point.
You get the double duty of the Cavaliers Stadium and the casino. He had a big deal going to LeBron. When LeBron went another way, he felt spurned.
No, that's my point. There's a whole industry around LeBron James that's bigger than basketball, and that's what Gilbert is upset about, and that is where the ownership part of this comes in. I agree with you 100%.
All right,
and these three young men, the former deal is a real advancement in their mentality.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. Thanks, Mark. Sit tight, Mark. We'll be back in a minute, and we'll talk some more. I'm back with cultural anthropologist Marc Lamont Hill, and while I have you here, I want you to listen to this Radar Online little thing, this tape. It says it's Mel Gibson's voice on this tape. CNN confirms the female voice is his ex-girlfriend's Oksana Grigorieva, and she also says the other voice is Gibson. So listen.
I don't walk around. I don't walk around in tight clothes. I for most of the time.
Public, and it's a embarrassment to me. You look like a on heat, and if you get raped by a pack of it'll be your fault. All right? Because you provoked it. You are provocatively dressed all the time with your fake boobs. You feel you have to show off.
So where does this hate come from? I mean, he hates everybody.
Apparently, he's equal opportunity hate. Women, Jews, blacks, everyone. I mean, I can't speak to Mel Gibson's own personal biography, but it seems to me that someone like him was raised in a household full of hate. We know his father's had very problematic relationships with Jews.
Well, his father denies the Holocaust ever existed, which is mental illness right there.
That's exactly right. And I think when you build on top of that, you know, a whole legacy of hating and never have anyone really challenge him, and he's been a celebrity where he's had a team of yes men around him.
So what about the in vino veritas thing, where he gets drunk and then he says all of these things?
Well, right, and that's exactly what happens. Then he goes into racist rehab or whatever, like he did in 2006.
Racist rehab. That's a good one.
Yeah.
But he uses the N-word in this rant to instill fear that she's going to be raped by a bunch of black guys.
Yeah.
That there's something so annoying about. I mean, respond to that.
Well, I mean, there's something sort of disturbing and sick about the fact that he used that as the kind of image to conjure. Now, knowing it's Mel Gibson, he could have just as easily found another racial stereotype. He's equal opportunity.
Yeah.
But there's something about the N-word in American history that provokes a certain kind of fear and a certain kind of terror. On the one hand, the use of it against black people is terror from the state. And on the other hand, there's a kind of terror when it's used against white people because the notion of black people has been dangerous and violent and immoral and all these bad things.
The N-word is an interesting phenomenon. You're an anthropologist. I mean, some people can use it and some people can't. It seems. Rap artists use it, but, you know, if I ever use it, God forbid, which I never would, I would be attacked and yelled at for that, and I would deserve it. But who can use it, who can't?
Well, there's a lot of internal difference as well within the black community about who can use it, but there's a certain sense, not just about using the word, but what the word means. Because the word has been wrapped in so much hate and violence and protection from the government at times, it has a different response from white people oftentimes than it does from black people. Black people in many ways have reused that word or rearticulated that word in a way that is redemptive, in a way that often signifies brotherhood and love. I'm not saying you should use it, but it does mean something different when black people use it than when white people use it.
I guess so, of course. You own your own word. Like, I can say bitch. I can call another woman a bitch, and you really can't.
I lost like 3 jobs like that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. No.
Now, you remember Michael Richards' rant?
Exactly.
That was out of control. And we haven't really seen him anymore. So
No.
I think Mel Gibson might have, stepped on the last
Oh,
tack.
absolutely. The first one, again, he went to rehab. He said it was an accident. The alcohol made me do it.
Yeah.
Now the second time around, there's no excuse. You know what I mean? It's obviously he's just a bad person who says bad things, sometimes when he's drunk, sometimes when he's sober.
Do you have any advice for him?
Go away. Go far away and stay as far away as you can forever. I mean, I really hope we never have to see or hear or talk about Mel Gibson again.
Well,
except maybe here.
Except on this show.
Right.
Okay. Thanks very much for joining.
My pleasure.
Okay. And thank you all for watching. Good night, everybody.